When we first started with you on a weekly basis, how many leads were you getting from Google and how many are you getting now?
I was at 0, and last week we got 24, and yesterday alone I booked 4 jobs from Google, just yesterday alone.
How much has it helped you to just have a three-legged marketing stool that you know is going to work?
It's like having a salesman that's working for me 24/7. It's amazing. Like, getting these leads in from Google because of the work that we're putting in on the back end is that's just it. It's like having a salesman that's working 24/7. Getting phone calls at 8 o'clock at night, getting people that book with me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I love it. And it's made it to where I no longer have to stress about getting my next job.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zuttner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Started from the bottom, now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Comebacks don't begin with breakthroughs. They begin with basics, small steps, clear actions, tiny wins that remind your mind, I'm moving again. The rhythm of small victories stacked over time. Start small. Pick something you can control today, something you've been avoiding, something that speaks to progress, not perfection. It might be making 1 phone call, writing 1 paragraph, taking a walk, cleaning 1 drawer, finishing the task you left undone. It doesn't have to be impressive. It has to be intentional. Because every time you follow through on a small win, you rebuild trust with yourself. You prove to your mind that you're no longer stuck. You remind your body what forward feels like. You reinforce the identity of someone who moves, who acts, who doesn't let resistance decide the day. Momentum isn't magic, it's momentum. Once you take 1 step, the next one is easier. Once you complete 1 task, your focus sharpens. Once you move, inertia starts working for you instead of against you. But you don't wait for it, you build it. People stay down not because they don't care, but because they overthink the comeback. They make it too complicated, too heavy, too far away. So they wait, they delay. They think, when I'm ready, I'll start. But readiness is a byproduct of action, not a prerequisite. You don't wait to feel ready. You move until you are. And when you move consistently, when you stack small wins, you start to feel the shift. You start to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. Because momentum changes your perspective. It makes what felt impossible last week feel manageable today. It makes your comeback feel real, not theoretical. Stacking small wins rewires your brain. Your mind learns through repetition. It learns through follow-through. So every time you finish what you start, your brain makes a note. I can trust myself. And that trust, that's the foundation of resilience.
It's changed our business a thousandfold. Actually, specifically 40%. But the cool thing is we know it's just up from here. I mean, literally 11 months ago, we were talking about liquidating and closing the doors, and just one phone call and one interaction with getting some coaching, our horizon is completely different, and we're still got a lot of work to do. We're getting better every single day, but we're super excited with where we're going from here.
And for anybody out there that's thinking about scheduling a service with you guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google right now. We type in Kansas City OxyFresh. This is you guys right here. Which locations is you? I want to make sure we're sending people. We have a lot of our listeners in Kansas City. Which particular locations are yours there?
We're all of those.
All of these. So you are the Kansas City area. So
Yeah.
everybody just Google search Kansas City OxyFresh.
Yep.
There
Those
you'll
are
be. Well, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we're interviewing a diligent doer. So if you're out there today and you say, I feel stuck, I want to know how to start or grow a successful company, step one, it requires diligence, which means the steady application of effort over time. The steady application of effort over time. Now, today's entrepreneur happens to be a franchisee, full disclosure, of a brand called OxyFresh. OxyFresh.com is a brand that I've had the honor of working with for the past 17, almost 18 years. And these guys are the franchise owners of an OxyFresh location, or actually OxyFresh locations and territories, which can be quite a bit to handle, and they are doing a phenomenal job. Spencer, welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Clay. Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be here.
Hey, so I got to ask you, first off, we've been working with you for a while now. How long have we been working with you guys approximately?
We started in January of this year, so getting really close to a year.
And have you sold more carpet cleaning? Are you up 1% or 2%? Or is there some kind of quantifiable way you could articulate the growth percentage?
Yeah, in our first, I guess, 11, 12 months, we're up 40% this first year.
Amen. And now you guys, Andrew brags on you guys all the time. So every time I hear about you guys, it's a brag session. But if people want to Google you and verify you're real, what territory can they Google to find you guys?
We're pretty much all of the Kansas City metro and surrounding areas. So some of the biggest surrounding areas of the KC proper, like Olathe, Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas, Lenexa, Kansas, Lee Summit, Missouri, and there's, dozens of others. So basically, we support the entire Kansas City metro.
Now, I want to ask you this question, and this is not a backhanded compliment, but one of my friends, he is jacked. I mean, one of the most physically fit people I've ever met in my life. And you look at him and you think to yourself, brother, you do not need a trainer. That's what you think. People actually say that to him. But he has a trainer. And you ask him, why do you have a trainer? And he says, well, I have a trainer, and that's why I look like I do. I have 5 sessions a week. I said, so you, just to be clear, you're spending $500 a week for a personal trainer. He said, well, it's $100 a session. I do 5 a week. And he said, I find that when I go, something happens that I'm paying money for someone to hold me accountable. That's part of it. The second is my trainer pushes me beyond what I would be without his pushing. And he said the third is my trainer knows what to do, has the tools. And so he said he takes the guesswork out of it. And again, this is one of the most physically fit people I've ever met. And he just is locked in with a trainer. I want to get your thoughts on that as far as business coaching and having somebody to show you the way, maybe push you a little bit, track the numbers. What kind of impact has that made on your business?
It was huge. We started the business. We ran it for probably about 2 years prior to getting a coach. And we know all of the things to do because, fun fact, I bought into the business because I was so excited to start a business because of listening to your podcast for probably at least a year before I ended up pulling the trigger. So I know all the systems, I know the processes, I know what we're supposed to do. But when it came down to getting it done and actually doing it every single day, we were stalling. And I'm not gonna lie, we were getting ready to close the doors, and I was like, we got to make one last ditch effort at this, and let's get a coach hired. And we knew immediately who to hire, and if they'll have us. And since then, we've been off to the races and growing.
Now, one of the things about success, I happen to write books. So let me just show the listeners an example. I write books. So this is a book I wrote. Actually, my wife wrote this book. This is my wife's book called Now I See. I did not write this book. This is my wife's book. I did edit this book. This book, Boom, is a book that I wrote. So I wrote Boom. My wife wrote Now I See. And this is a book that I did not write, but look what I did to it. This is Robert Kiyosaki's book, the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. This is the Rich Dad Guide to Investing. And Robert Kiyosaki's now gotten to be he's become a friend, and he and Eric Trump are coming to speak at our business conference in March. And when I remember reading Robert's book, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this book is really well done. And when I started meeting people like Robert Kiyosaki or Robert Greene or Guy Kawasaki, I always asked these guys, I would say, how did you write the book? And they would say, well, step one is you write it. And then step two is you maniacally edit it. And it's not like it's a complicated process, but you just have to go back and edit it every day. It's not like it's a big complicated thing. It's just you have to read your own book and read it to find the errors. And when you think you found all the errors, you read it again. And I'm going, so your entire process consists of writing the book and then reading it till you don't find any errors. They go, yeah. And then I have an editor read it and find errors, and then they send it back to me, and I said, well, what do you do next? They said, I read it and I find errors. And I said, what happens next? They're like, give it back to my editor. And I'm going, there's no way. I mean, how many times do you do this? And I started hearing from the world's top, we're talking the John Maxwell, we're talking Mark Manson, the author of Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, Robert Greene, we're talking about the world's best-selling authors. They say, oh, I go back and forth, usually 24 times before I get it perfect. And I think that's a little bit of the madness of growing a successful company. It's knowing what to do and then doing it consistently. Can you talk about that, about just step one, knowing what to do, but then step two, doing it over and over and over?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It's not rocket science. The trick is in the discipline. But I'll even add one in there between those two steps, which is knowing what to do and then doing it, and stop making excuses. Even us, when we get on the call with Andrew, it's like Andrew will say, well, did you get your X amount of Google reviews? Did you get your X amount of images loaded? And we'll say, well, we got some, but, and then we did this, but, and we'll come up with the excuses. And then pretty quickly you can understand, hey, you're just making a bunch of excuses. It's time to get stuff done. So yeah, it's the hard part is the discipline. Back to your analogy on working out and getting jacked. Everybody knows what to do. Everybody, maybe not everybody knows what to do, but most people know what to do to get jacked. Most people know what to do to make money. It's just a matter, you got to go do it. And then obviously there's a lot of tricks you can learn from people who've been doing it a long time. So you should always educate yourself, but I'm with you. It's all about the diligent doing.
Now, in part two of today's show, so after this portion of the show, on part two, we're going to sit down and interview Dr. Sean Baker. And someone says, who's that? He's been on Joe Rogan multiple times. He's actually one of the best-selling authors in America right now. So anybody can go to Amazon.com. You type in carnivore diet, this guy, carnivore diet. This is I'm telling you, folks, you are going to love part two of today's show. Two of our conference attendees two of my clients came to a conference, and at the conference we had Tim Tebow was here. We also brought in Dr. Sean Baker, and these two guys, they locked in and they decided to implement the carnivore diet for 6 months. This is a true story. This is going to blow your mind. And one of the listeners lost 92 pounds in 6 months by only eating meat. His cholesterol's gone down. It's unbelievable. The other guy got a little bit of a head start. He lost 81 pounds. And you're going to hear their stories on part two of today's show. And you say, well, what do you do? And they go, I only eat meat. It's unbelievable, the simplicity. And I believe that's that way with growing a company. It's not super complicated, but it's a simple plan, and you have to do the plan over and over. Just like working out, you got to get those biceps sore if you're going to experience growth. So let me dial into the stuff you're doing. Step one, and maybe you don't agree, feel free to interrupt me, but one is you have to wow the customer. You guys at OxyFresh, I know you guys do this. Andrew tells me you guys do this. When somebody Googles Kansas City carpet cleaning, I'll pull this up on the screen here. When somebody Googles Kansas City carpet cleaning, you guys come up top in the search results, but you have to wow those customers. I mean, you guys are obsessed with wowing your customers. So what do you say to somebody out there that's mailing it in, their carpet techs or their business of some kind, just it doesn't wow. It maybe doesn't even deliver. They just do the minimum effort. What do you say to somebody that for whatever reason just can't seem to get motivated to wow the customer?
I would say you're probably not going to make it very long. We always strive to get like 3 wows per interaction with the customer, and it can look several different ways. Maybe it's we're calling ahead and saying we're stopping by the Quick Trip or Starbucks on our way. Do you want anything? Some people might get a little weird about that. Or there's a package out, we'll bring it up. Or it's even just showing that you care. I mean, we have so many service industries out here that get the technician, they come, and it's like they're just here to collect a paycheck, and they're going to go through the motions. But if you can get your technicians or your employees in the ownership too to really show the customer that you genuinely care, then you don't even need all that extra stuff to get the 3 wows with each interaction. It's little things like calling them the night before and actually caring about what kind of situation they have when you walk into their home, because they're letting you into the privacy of their home, and they need to know that they can trust you. So just gaining that trust and that rapport even before we show up, that's the first wow. And then the others are easy, like, oh, do you need help moving this piece of furniture while we're in here? Just doing little stuff like that. You'll see, we'll even do things like we'll get like Hot Wheel toys or treats for the dogs. And we don't do that all the time, but a lot of times we'll do little things like that and leave them for the customer. Kind of a no questions asked redo policy. You don't like what we did within a certain amount of time, we'll come back and make it right. And we won't stop coming back until it is right. Just a lot of things like that. And I think if you don't do that to differentiate yourself from your competitors, you're probably not going to last very long. And if you are lasting, you're probably just lasting and not thriving.
Now, for anybody out there who's curious about how I voted or who I voted for, I happen to be a libertarian, which means every year I go, well, there's no libertarians to choose from. And so I tend to vote Republican. But I want to share with you a story. I was staying at a hotel years ago, and the bellman there, this guy looked exactly like Barack Obama. And I said, do people ever tell you that you look like, he goes, Obama? I said, yeah. He's like, yeah, people call me Obama. I said, it's interesting. He said, sir, don't hold it against me if you're not an Obama fan. If you are an Obama fan, that's okay too. But sir, I want to make sure I take your bags up to your room. This is the bellman at this hotel in Vegas. He says, I want to make sure I take your bags up to your room. You have a great experience. What room are you in, sir? I tell him the number. He goes up there, takes my bags. He says, sir, I really do appreciate you. True story. This is true story. Crazy story. And he hands me a $5 bill because I'm tipping him. He hands me a $5 bill, and on the bill is his phone number. And he said, we got a lot of bellmen. I don't know that any of them have ever tipped you, but I'm giving you a tip. Call me. And I'm like, whoa. See, that was like a next level, like, wow. So I said, what now? I mean, I was amazed. He said, a lot of bellmen probably won't give you a tip, but I'm going to give you a tip. And he hands me $5. This is the number to call if you need anything. And sir, I'll be back in 5 minutes with guides, basically of things to do in Las Vegas. Are you looking to take the lady on a dinner date? Are you going to go see a show? Do you want to go to a casino? Or are you looking to sightsee? What are you looking to do, sir? And I said, I'm looking just to go to take my wife to dinner. He said, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Dude goes down the elevator, knocks on the door. And he knocks on the door. I said, hello. He goes, it's Obama, sir. Hope and change. I hope you have a great stay. Sir, here's some change. He gives me another $1. Hey, if you need a tip, this is my phone number. I'm like, what is going on? So he's out $6. And already I remember him. I never forget him because he looks like Obama. He says, hope and change, gave me the change, gave me a tip. And so the next morning, I wake up every morning methodically at 3 a.m. So I set my alarm. My alarm goes off in the hotel, 3 a.m. Vegas time. Go down to the lobby, and dude is there. And I'm like, this is crazy. He's the only bellman who seems to be operational. There's a couple guys that have to work the shift, but this guy is moving. And he's got people looking for him in the lobby. People are going, hey, is Obama here? And I'm like, hey, Obama, true story. I said, Obama, dude, you are killing the game. I was there for about 4 days, and I noticed people were waiting for him to get their luggage. They were going, hey, is Obama here? And they were the other bellmen were looking for jobs, looking for work. This guy has people waiting for him. So I said, sir, can I ask you, where are you getting this mindset? What's going on with you? He said, sir, if I can over deliver, I think it's how it goes. If I can over deliver, I'll get overpaid. And I'm paying my way through medical school. And so I'm gonna pay my way through college. I'm gonna over deliver. And then I'm gonna get overpaid. And I just remember I had a desire deep within me to tip the man hundreds of dollars, and I
Yeah.
did. And I
Yeah.
did. And I was thinking to myself, that guy really ignited the law of reciprocity that Napoleon Hill talked about. He wowed every customer. I watched that guy and I'm thinking he had the same cart, the same uniform, the same name tag, and he took what little tools he had, he tipped the customer. He came up with a memorable marketing slogan. Hey, I look like Obama. He embraced the whole hope and change thing. And at the
Yeah.
end, we're checking out. I said, man, it's been great, Obama, getting to know you, man. You're great. He says, honestly, man, I vote conservative, but got to go with it. And it's just this whole, like, it was like the ultimate punchline. And I'm
Yeah.
saying that because there's somebody out there, you're saying, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of tools. And I'm telling you, if the Bellman can do it, if OxyFresh can do it, you can do it. Now, the second thing you guys are doing is you have a daily huddle with your team. So every
Yeah.
single day, you guys do your best to huddle with your team. Obviously, there's holidays that come up, but I mean, you're huddling with the team and you're saying, guys, this is what needs to be done today. This is what we did yesterday. And you're looking at the numbers, the key performance indicators. Talk to the listeners about the daily huddle and why it's so important for you to do that daily huddle to make your OxyFresh super successful.
Oh, it's huge because you got to keep it really simple for your employees. And if you just give them a long list of laundry items to do at your weekly staff meeting, or if you were us a year ago, or your never staff meeting, or your text to that's which is bad. Don't do that. Do the staff meeting. They can't keep track of everything they got to do. So if you have the daily huddle, number one, it keeps all of them accountable. So you know they're going to show up. And if they don't show up to the daily huddle, well, now you know they're probably going to be late to their first appointment. So we got to start calling and figuring out plans for that. And then we can just plan ahead with the daily huddle and manage all the daily fires that would have come up, but we've handled them right then and there. We do it every single morning at 7:45. Doesn't matter the day, doesn't matter the situation. We do it unless we're closed for Christmas, for example. And we've had to pivot. We fought back for a while because it's like, well, we got texts coming from all over the metro, and the metro is large. How are we going to do a daily huddle at one spot? So we'll do a daily huddle in person sometimes, but a lot of times we just do it virtually via Google Meet, and we get all the guys on one call, and we all talk about what we need to talk about, and we get the day started right every single day at 7:45.
Next thing you're doing again. So step one, wow every customer. Step two, that daily recurring huddle. Step three, you're never done recruiting. Never done recruiting. And I don't know why this is a controversial concept. So I'm going to give some stats on the screen here so people can get mad at the stats and not mad at me because I'm not the one making up the stats here. Okay, so here we go. By the way, Napoleon Hill, best-selling author of Think and Grow Rich. I named my son after Napoleon Hill. He once said, you can start right where you stand by applying the habit of going the extra mile, by rendering more service and better service than you are now being paid for. That's something everybody can do right now. But, you look at this, the statistics, 85% of employees today, the 85% of employees, they say, yep, I do lie on my resume. What? 85% of employees, according to Inc. magazine, are during their own surveys are going, yep, I do lie on my resumes. 85%. Now, Forbes, which is much more optimistic, Forbes is saying, no, 70% are lying. Okay, whatever. Now, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, they're saying that 75% of employees steal. 75% of employees steal from the workplace. So as an example, I know somebody, I'll be very vague, that years ago for Christmas, they came to me and they said, Clay, can I come to your Christmas party? I hear it's legendary. I said, oh, you can come. And they're trying to impress me. They know me. They're not a client of mine. They're family. And they show up with all these bottles of miniature alcohol, tons of it. And I'm going, what are you doing? And they go, well, I work in the airline industry, and when no one's looking, I take quite a bit, And I'm going, what? They go, well, per flight, you're allowed to have up to one complimentary beverage per first class person. So if they don't take them, I just take them. And so I've accumulated thousands. And I'm going, so you've accumulated thousands of bottles. I go, oh yeah. And check this out. And they have these earbuds, these one-time wearing headphones. They've got these for days. Yeah. They've got all these snacks they've stolen, they brought to the party. And I'm going, you're probably bringing in, $2-3 grand of stolen stuff from the workplace. And I am shocked that entrepreneurs have this blind faith that they're not going to be robbed, that the employees aren't going to steal, that the employees aren't going to fire themselves. that the employees aren't going to get a divorce and move out of town, that the employees
Hmm.
aren't going to get another job, that the employees aren't going to get bored and move on, that the employees aren't going to, their wife gets pregnant, now they want to stay home and help raise the kid. I mean, I don't understand why it is that people think that you can never stop recruiting, but you guys have clearly embraced the idea
Yeah.
of ongoing, never-ending recruiting. Talk about that.
Yeah. So I remember listening to your podcast, I don't know, 4 years ago, and you bring this topic up, and I thought to myself, there's no way people are this bad. There's no way. So, but immediately we get in the business, and we have stories for days, stealing, not showing up, weird excuses, just the craziest stories for days. I'm sure every business owner has it. And we were kind of stalled on doing the group interview, as frequently as we do now. I would say we probably still don't do it as much as Andrew wants us to, but we do it on average maybe every 2 weeks, at a minimum every month. And because we have a good group of core guys right now. But it's so important because, especially in our business, it's not like we're getting 2 week notices. If someone wants to leave, they're just leaving, or they may give you the kindness of giving you a call that morning, but typically it's just they don't show up, or maybe you catch a technician who is stealing or doing some shady things, and you have to let them go on the spot. I think the biggest thing is if you don't have constant candidates coming in, you can become hostage of your employees, and we were subject to this. We became hostages of our employees, and then the group interview solved that immediately. And we were able to automate the process pretty easily with Indeed. So all I got to do is make a post, and then a week later, 30 people show up to our office, and we can just rock and roll with our outline, our script, everything we want to talk about. But we got to systemize it, and we do it about every 2 weeks, and it's key to our success.
Now, again, I want to respect your time, but I also want to get into all 7 of these things. I mean, there's so many things you're doing well, but I want to hit on these 7.
Sure.
So again, step 1, folks, they're over delivering. They're wowing customers. If you're watching today's show, if you want a restaurant, a dentistry, years ago, I worked with a skincare company, a dermatologist, and I said, you have to wow your customer with your sights, your sounds, your smells, sights, sounds, smells, the employees, sights, sounds, smells, the employees, and the overall experience. And the dermatologist said to me, he goes, it's occurred to me we have no music in my office.
Mhm.
The office looks bad, so the visuals are bad. There's no music. I think my front desk lady is kind of sarcastic and mean. What were the steps? I said, sights, sounds, smells. He's like, yeah, I know the bathrooms smell good. What else? And so there was no intentionality to it. So we
Yeah.
teamed up with this dermatologist, true story. And I said, well, hey, what are something that we could do every day? He decided to bring in a catering truck or a catering group that would deliver fresh kind of Panera bread kind of style food every day. So when you're in the lobby waiting for your appointment, you have fresh coffee, you have light fruit, you have a few wraps, those kind of things. He got an overhead playlist we helped him develop. He repainted his office. He went with kind of a modern rustic front desk. And anyway, he was very intentional. And his customers loved it. And they left him raving reviews. And it was powerful, just a complete turnaround. So if you're watching today's show, wow your customer. Step 2, you got to hold that daily huddle. Step 3, never stop recruiting. Never stop recruiting. Step 4, you got to have a recurring weekly staff meeting. Weekly, what? Every week, if you're the owner of the company, you have to have a meeting with yourself or a coach or somebody to look at the numbers and ask yourself, are you drifting into dystopia or are you moving ahead? Next, you have to implement a tracking sheet. Most people don't track. And I'll tell you this, where you don't track, you will slack. You must measure what you treasure. Can you talk about the importance of using a daily tracking sheet or a weekly tracking sheet to track your actual numbers?
Yeah, it's super important because you can see it all in one spot. That's something Andrew helped us with right away, and it was extremely valuable. If you don't have it all in one spot, it's hard to gather it all and make analysis and do that. So, and if you're not tracking it, then what are you doing? I think it's very important to do that. So we have all of our it's pretty simple, and you keep it simple. We have money in, money out, how many Google reviews we've gotten, and maybe some stuff on ad spend and other things. But money in, money out, and then you can start to see trends. And then as you see the trends, you can start to change your activities. One trend we had that Andrew got on us today, our Google review counts were low relative to the last few weeks. So he said, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? If we weren't tracking it, we wouldn't have been like, hey, it's time to get back on our Google reviews.
And just to be clear, I don't want to ever exaggerate on this show. I'll be very clear and very measured and accurate in how I speak. I believe you're up 40% in less than a year. Is that an accurate statement?
That's correct.
It's mind-boggling. Okay,
Yeah.
so next is that you want to this is step 6 here. You want to gather objective reviews from real customers. You have to do it. And I think somebody says, "Well, I'm just going to allow the customers to leave me a review if they feel like it." I'm telling you, folks, I took my son to Margaritaville the other day. It was a restaurant that was nearby, the Jimmy Buffett theme, Margaritaville. And I'm walking out of the restaurant, and the front desk lady, she said, "Sir, did you have a good experience?" I said, "Yes, I did." She said, "Could you leave us an objective review?" I said, "Absolutely." Would I have done it if she didn't ask me? I'd say no. What? You're a hypocrite. I'm a busy guy, right? We're busy people. Everybody watching this, you're busy. I was thinking about my son, his 17-year-old self. I was thinking about my 20-year-old daughter. I was thinking about Christmas gifts for my wife. I was trying to figure out where my valet vehicle was parked, all those things. Last thing I was thinking about was, take a moment, leave a review about the steak I ordered. But you know what? She asked for a review, so I did. Could you encourage anybody out there who just for whatever reason has some sort of mental block about asking for objective Google reviews from real customers?
It is the lifeblood of the business for us, especially. I mean, second only to delivering an outstanding service. The second most important thing is getting Google reviews so that other people in the community can know how good we are to work with. It's pure head trash. You got to get past the head trash. People do not mind leaving the review. It's just you got to get them to do it. And if you don't do it before you leave the home, you're not going to get it. I'm a business owner. I know how much getting Google reviews has grown our business. And still, when I get service, if they don't have me leave the review before they leave, I don't do it. It's not because I don't want to. It's because we're busy. So you got to get it before you leave the house.
Final 2 points, gathering objective video reviews from real customers. You do gather objective video reviews from real customers. That's where a customer you've wowed, you say, would it be okay if I gathered an objective video review, just got your feedback? Why are video reviews so powerful?
Number one, I think I'm not super familiar with the algorithm, but I think video reviews jump to the top of your reviews. And then, so that's awesome. When someone's willing to talk about your product or your service, it's going to get jumped to the top on the review list on Google Maps. But also, if I'm reviewing a service or a company, and I look at the reviews and I see someone believed in that product or service enough to put their face on camera on the internet for the whole world to see, then they must really believe in that product or service. So I've made the decision to use that product or service before I've even called them to get a quote. And that's kind of what we want our customers to do too.
So final, let's say 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I don't want you to feel time pressure, but the final 30 seconds we have here are 60 seconds. How would you describe the impact that business coaching has made on your business, AKA your life?
Yeah, it's changed our business a thousandfold. Actually, specifically 40%. But the cool thing is we know it's just up from here. I mean, literally 11 months ago, we were talking about liquidating and closing the doors, and just one phone call and one interaction with getting some coaching, our horizon is completely different, and we're still got a lot of work to do. We're getting better every single day, but we're super excited with where we're going from here.
And for anybody out there that's thinking about scheduling a service with you guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google right now. We type in Kansas City OxyFresh. This is you guys right here. Which locations is you? I want to make sure we're sending people. We have a lot of our listeners in Kansas City. Which particular locations are yours there?
We're all of those.
All of these. So you are the Kansas City area. So
Yeah.
everybody just Google search Kansas City OxyFresh.
Yep.
There
Those
you'll
are still
be.
ours.
You can also search for Kansas City carpet cleaning, I believe, and you guys will pop right up in the conversation. And you guys are, again, OxyFresh is the brand OXI Fresh. And what are the markets you service there? You're in Olathe, is that right?
Yeah, the whole Kansas City metro essentially, which is a lot of the surrounding areas are Olathe, Overland Park, Lenexa. Overland Park is probably our biggest market, and you can see there's still quite a bit of competition
Yeah.
that we have to deal with. But just by doing the coaching and getting those Google reviews, I think we've gotten 1,000 reviews this year alone. I mean, we've been able to obviously increase our business 40%. So there's a lot of market share to go get. You just got to keep doing the same thing every single day and be disciplined, and it is working. So.
What do you say to somebody who's going to thrivetimeshow.com right now? They're thinking about coming to see, Robert Kiyosaki, Eric Trump, or coming to one of our workshops, or they're thinking about scheduling a free 13-point assessment to see if they're a good fit for the business growth consulting. What would you say to somebody thinking about taking some action?
Oh, you got to do it. I mean, what is your hesitancy? It's normal to get the assessment. I think that's free. So why not get some free advice from Clay and the team, first of all, and then get to the business conference. I'm going to be there. I just tried to get my tickets today, so I'm going to figure out if I want VIP or not. I want to sit on the new deck. But I'm going to be
there. Dude,
yeah.
that is going to be, I'm telling you, that's going to, now this is a real story. I don't want to interrupt you, but Eric Trump and I have gotten to be friends, and he said, hey, I would like to come to your conference. So he'll be here, Robert Kiyosaki. So we are, I mean, I'm not kidding, folks. Every single seat will be sold. And then we have this big, I'm just like, right now, we are very intentional about who we sell tickets to. So there's certain people I don't sell tickets to. It's just filled with entrepreneurs. Okay. So people that are actually entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, people that actually are, they're not just there to gawk, they're actually doers. And so I told my wife, I said, we might have to add on a second deck. So we got a quote to add on a second deck for additional seating. And we already have pre-sold some of those. So I said, well, we got to do a third deck. So we're looking to add the second and third decks before the event. So it's going to be awesome.
What you're saying is I might be out. I may not be in.
Well, you're a client, so Andrew will figure out a way to get you. I'm telling you, it is going to be packed.
I'll sit at his desk.
That seems very fair.
To answer your question, we did come to one conference, and it was mind blowing. Even someone who's listened to your podcast and read a couple of your books, there's always something you get from every single speaker, and it's not just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. There's a little bit of motivational, but a lot of it is action oriented, and that's what I really enjoy. And I took my business partner, and it's funny we joke about this because he's much more of the operations guy, and I'm much more of the sales and behind the scenes kind of guy. And I had to basically drag him to that conference. But after he left that conference, he was a whole different human, and his outlook on the business was 100% changed. And what I'm saying is, if that could do that to the type of person that I run our business with, then I know that everybody is going to get something out of that conference.
Brother, thank you so much for carving out time for us. Have a Merry Christmas. And for anybody looking to lose a little bit of weight, this next part of the show, two guys, one guy lost 92 pounds in 6 months. The other guy loses 81 pounds. They're real people. It's incredible. Folks, I encourage everyone to stay tuned. And again, thank you so much, brother. I really do appreciate you, Spencer.
Thank you, Clay. Appreciate you, man.
Bye-bye.
What's up, Sean? Good to see you.
Good to be back, Joe. Thanks.
You're still alive. You've been eating nothing but meat, and you're still alive.
I am still alive.
Doubters be gone.
Yeah.
When I just eat mostly meat, I feel so much better. I mean, maybe it's anecdotal, maybe it's just me and you, maybe and many other people that do it, but there's something to it. But you're an extreme example because you have been doing it now for how many years?
So I'm starting my 8th year. So just
8th year.
Yeah. So when I came to see you last time, it was 6 years ago. So I'd been just finished 7 years now. So yeah, it's been a while.
And people should know that you're actually a doctor. You're an orthopedic surgeon, and you didn't at one point in time they took your license away because you were providing medical information, but you got it back?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing. So when I was practicing medicine, busy orthopedic surgeon, plugging away, doing a thing, and then I started realizing, hey, I can have people avoid surgery by changing their diet. Their pain went away. And I was like, you don't need surgery. Well, that is not what hospitals want you to do.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get
Okay, Thrive Nation, here's the story. True story. One of my clients, Nace Roberts and Jordan Roberts, so they are brothers. They have beards. Nace and Jordan Roberts. They came into my office, and I'm going, you look like half of you is missing. And they said, Clay, we're on this all meat diet thing. And I'm going, is that healthy? Is that good? Are you gonna make it? I don't know if this is a good deal, bad deal. I don't know enough about it, but what are your thoughts? And they said, no, this is a thing. This is a good thing. There's a guy who wrote a book about it. Let me pull this up real quick. And I thought, I don't know if this is a thing. And so they said it is a thing. And by the way, their company, it's called Grid Down, Chow Down. They're kind of they have a meat bias. Okay, they sell meat that doesn't have mRNA technology in it. So when you go to Target and they sell synthetic meat or the genetically modified meat, they don't sell that kind of stuff. So they have a bias towards meat. And I thought to myself, they're good guys. They've been a client of mine for like 7 years. They like meat. I like meat. I'll look into it. So then I watched Dr. Sean Baker's interview with Joe Rogan, blew my mind. And then we were at the last conference, and this guy by the name of Rick, there he is on camera. Rick came up to me and he said he lost 87 pounds in 6 months since hearing the presentation of Dr. Sean Baker and implementing it. Again, Dr. Sean Baker spoke at one of our in-person business workshops. And Slick Rick here, he's down 87 pounds in 6 months. 92 pounds in my face, 92 pounds. And then here's Thomas Crossan, the founder of a great company in Dallas, Texas, longtime client called Full Package Media. And Thomas, how much weight have you lost, sir? I think you're muted somehow. Did I mute you, or are you muted somehow? Let me see. There might be a mute there. That's not a passive aggressive editing thing from me. He's coming right back. So you lost how much, Rick?
I'm down 92 today in 171 days.
And so, Sean Baker, I watch you online. You are really, really aggressively stating the facts and warning people about the dangers of Ozempic and other weight loss medications. And I thought, sir, we have to have an opportunity for you to hear from actual people that are implementing your carnivore diet. Does it shock you, sir, to hear the kind of results that have been seen by Rick here?
No, not at all. I mean, this is kind of routine for me. I see people losing 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, 300. We had a lady that lost 500 pounds in 2 years on this diet. So, yeah, I mean, weight loss is a pretty typical thing we see. And some people, and maybe Rick can speak to this, is you kind of find you get this point of satiety where you actually you don't crave all the garbage. Your appetite is finally, sated for the first time maybe in life. And so it becomes very easy when you're not starving all the time to sort of stick to a routine and meat. You'd mentioned Ozempic, and certainly, we know that people are losing weight on Ozempic, but there are some potentials for some real issues with that, whether they're really bad side effects with, gastroparesis or, suicidal thoughts or, intestinal obstructions, or I just saw a couple studies on blindness and erectile dysfunction. So there's issues with that. But the mechanism by which it works, it stimulates these hormones called incretin hormones in our body, GLP-1 being one of them, but meat actually does that naturally. And it does it, in a more physiologically appropriate manner, where it does it when it's supposed to and then comes on, comes off. Whereas these drugs, it just stays on all the time. And so people are having issues turning up in the ER, throwing their guts out, throwing up like crazy, or they're losing all the muscle mass. And so this is maybe, there may be some things you can do prior to jumping on the drug bandwagon, which is unfortunately a criticism of the healthcare system. We just kind of drugs first, and we don't really give much to lifestyle.
Thomas, are you with us there? Is it working there,
Yeah,
sir?
can you hear me?
Okay, yes. So I got to ask you, how much weight have you lost there, sir?
81 pounds as of this morning. So,
Okay, so I'm going to try to tee this up because I really want to hear from you guys and I don't want to hear from myself. So first question, Thomas, how long have you been on this diet, this carnivore diet that you're on now?
so I've been doing it kind of on and off for 2 years, but then in the last like 90 days, really been doing just 100%. I was doing more kind of paleo meat based before, and then just switched to just 100% meat, eggs, just animal products. And in 70 days, I've lost 30 pounds.
And Rick, how long have you been on the diet again? And how much weight have you lost?
So I started July 1st. I was at 233.2 pounds or something. And this morning I was just under, or I was 323.3. And this morning I'm down like 92 pounds. I'm under 100 or 232 pounds.
So when did you decide, you're at the conference, Dr. Sean Baker is speaking. When did it occur to you where you're going, you know what, I'm going to do this diet?
Well, like I said, he was speaking and I was sitting there in the audience. I ordered his book online. You know, we left there on Friday. It showed up at my house on Saturday. And I hate reading books. And I made it through about chapter 6. And I'm like, this just makes sense because I was never one to eat vegetables to begin with. But I ate all the standard American crap that was there and the carbs, you know, potatoes, corn, everything, you know, fatten up a pig. That's what I was eating. So I decided July 1st I was going. My wife decided to do it with me. She's down 40 pounds and I'm down 92 pounds.
And so, Thomas, when did you decide to get on the carnivore diet?
About 2 years ago is when I really started, at least meat based, and then I really just got to the point where was like, okay, it seems like there's no reason to be eating the vegetables and that kind of thing, and just went to strictly meat. I've followed Dr. Baker for years and years, and one of my doctors, he's like, oh, you should only eat red meat once a month at max, and then I went to it, and as I've been doing it, I mean, checked my CRP levels like a week ago, and they're the lowest they've been since 2019. So
now, one final question, then I'm going to go back to Dr. Baker here. You know, so many people say, well, Clay, I want to do the carnivore diet. The questions I got asked a lot at the conference is people would say, hey, if you get a chance to ask Dr. Sean Baker, when I go on the carnivore diet, you know, how much vegetables can I eat? Like, how many can I eat? If I'm on the carnivore diet, how much cereal can I have? If I'm on it, I mean, if the carnivore diet, if I'm on a strictly carnivore diet, how much salad can I have when I go to Outback Steakhouse? What's the maximum amount of potatoes I can have with the steak at Outback? So, Dr. Baker, I just want to ask you, if someone's on the carnivore diet, what's the maximum amount of, or how much vegetables should they be eating with the meat on the carnivore only diet?
Well, I mean, if it's technically a carnivore diet, you're eating none. I mean, essentially. Now, I mean, again, the nice thing about it is it's very clear. You're either on it or you're off it. Now, is it going to kill somebody to have a piece of lettuce once in a while? For most people, no. I mean, but there are people, honestly, that, you know, for whatever reason, things we would otherwise consider normal, healthy foods, unprocessed fruits and vegetables, can actually be problematic for certain people. And this really gets into people with certain autoimmune conditions, certain gut issues. You know, we've just published a number of scientific papers, case series on, you know, inflammatory bowel disease, anorexia, anxiety, depression, and then there'll be one soon coming out on multiple sclerosis. And so we're seeing for certain medical conditions, it's pretty good. It makes sense to be strict. For some people that are dealing with like things like food addiction, the strictness just makes it easier. Some people cannot be, you know, moderators. They've got to abstain for a while. So I think in the strictest sense of a carnivore diet, there's no fruits, there's no vegetables. It's pretty much animal products. It's meat, it's eggs, it's, you know, some people dairy products, it's seafood, things like that. However, could you get healthy on a diet where you're mostly meat and a few other foods? Certainly, many people can. Although, like I said, this is so simple. I mean, you know, my dog could do it, and my dog does. I mean, it's not hard to explain. Hey, just eat a bunch of meat every day, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. I look at, you know, when I look at, you know, feeding of animals throughout the world, it's not complicated. I mean, we're the only species that needs menus and apps and all this, you know, this crazy sort of complexity when it should be just eat, and it's simple as that. And I think these guys will probably attest to the simplicity and the actual, again, satiety that comes to this.
So I gotta go back to you, Thomas. So you're on this diet. I mean, you're living it, you're into it, you're doing it, you're seeing the results. But there had to be like some inner dialogue maybe going on, some inner thoughts. I don't know. When you're going, I'm on the carnivore diet, but I'm going all in on the carnivore diet, which you've done now. Was there can you kind of walk us through the inner dialogue or what you were saying to yourself or thinking, or just walk us through? Because there's somebody watching this right now that needs to hear this.
I think one of the biggest things was, like Dr. Baker said, is like it's hard, it's easy to follow. It's not one of these diets where you have to count calories or think about every single food and what's the glycemic index of it and all that stuff. It's like meat, eggs, maybe cheese. And that makes it easy. So I just was like, okay, let's make it black and white, jump on it, see how it goes, test blood work, that sort of thing, and see how it goes. So for me, that was one of the easiest things, is just the ease of following it. And I like steak.
So let me ask you this. So Rick, you're going to, let's say, Outback tonight. Okay. You're going to Texas Roadhouse tonight. You're going somewhere to eat. I mean, you guys are both entrepreneurs. Thomas has a wonderful company called fullpackagemedia.com. They offer real estate photography solutions for people in Dallas, I believe also in Austin, Texas. It's fullpackagemedia.com, fullpackagemedia.com. You are the HVAC master, which leads me to believe you're somehow involved in HVAC. So when you're out there on a busy schedule, what are you eating? What are you eating?
I love going to Texas Roadhouse, and they don't have it on their menu, but our local Texas Roadhouse usually has larger cuts of steak. So I'll get the 24-ounce Fort Worth ribeye, or sometimes they'll have some up there that are 28, 29 ounces. When I first started doing carnivore, I'd go out at lunch when I'd have a lunch meat or that and eat a 16-ounce ribeye, and that was the only thing on my plate. And then I'd go home and I'd cook another one. And to Dr. Baker's, your satiety level, I would get stuffed, and I would leave this little 2-inch cube of steak in the middle of my plate, and I'm like, you hit a wall, and your body says, "Hey, I'm done eating." And that beautiful, tasty, juicy ribeye all of a sudden wants to make you gag, and you hit that level, and you don't need to eat anymore, and you're not hungry. You're not up an hour and a half later grabbing a bag of chip and dip because you're having a sugar drop, carb spike and everything. So I started very quickly doing OMAD because it is one meal a day. And I had my butcher cut me some 1.5-inch ribeyes. And, once a day I have like a 28-ounce ribeye for dinner, and that's all I'll eat all day long.
Dr. Baker, I know someone's watching this going, what? Is this healthy? Are they going to die? Now you, sir, you sat down with a very skeptical Joe Rogan many years ago, or a few years ago, and when you're watching the interview, watching his body language and yours, you were bringing the facts, you were presenting data. He was being respectful, but you could tell he was very skeptical of what you were saying. You challenged him, or talked to him, or convinced him, or something. He decided to get on the carnivore diet. He had phenomenal results. Could you tell us what kind of feedback has the carnivore diet had? Or what kind of feedback are you getting from America since going on those Joe Rogan interviews?
Yeah, like you said, the very first time he was obviously skeptical. He looked at me like I had a third eyeball, in my head because I was talking crazy talk, which is what it sounds like the first time you hear it. Second time I went on Rogan's podcast, very different story. He'd experienced it. He had friends that had done it. He realized that this, I wasn't just making this stuff. It actually works. And so I think what we've seen over the last couple of years, in many ways, to sort of parallel what's going on politically in this country, a lot of people are sort of skeptical of, various, entities and organizations which we once held with high esteem. We're kind of like, wait a minute, you guys are not telling the truth, and you're leaving out some details. So I think we've seen a general trend where more and more people, at the very least, have come to start to believe that no, red meat is not killing us. It's not bad for us. It's not killing the planet. It's actually a health food. And so I think we're getting that seen by more and more people, probably, a significant portion of the country believes that. And certainly a lot of them are seeing the results because it's undeniable this time. If you just, quickly go on any sort of social media platform and type in carnivore diet, you're going to see obviously the critics, but you're going to see just, thousands upon thousands of testimonials where this works. And it just does. It's the only reason I promote something, this sort of thing, is because it clearly works, and it works for many, many peoples of all various stripes, shapes, sizes, ages, sex, cultural backgrounds, whatever it is. It just plain works. And So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, good things usually, rise to the top. And I think that's what we're starting to see.
Now, what I'm going to do here, just to spice it up a little bit today, is I'm going to pull up our webpage here for the Thrivetime show for our in-person workshop. We have Eric Trump joining us. That's President Trump's son, who, by the way, eats a primarily carnivore diet. I've seen him actually lose almost 40 some odd pounds on the Reawaken tour by eating pretty much only meat. Then you have Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So anybody watching this right now, if you want to join this diet, here's what we're going to do. Right now, okay, so we're recording this on December 19th, so we have 76 days until the event. If you will join the carnivore diet, whatever that means, so these are the steps you have to do here. So you go to Amazon, okay, and we're going to buy a copy of the book here. So we're all going to Amazon. And Slick Rick, you bought a copy of this book. Thomas, do you have a copy of this book, The Carnivore Diet?
I do.
Okay, so this is what you do. What you do is you buy a copy of the Carnivore Diet. That's step one. So what do? You buy a copy. You say, well, where do I find it? You go to Amazon. You type in Sean Baker Carnivore Diet. We'll put a link on the show notes. There you go. You buy a copy. That's step one. You buy a copy of the book. Now, step two, what you're going to do is just text me proof that you bought the book. You say, text you. How do I have your number? I shall give you my number. My cell phone number that I keep private between you and me and everybody is 918-851. That's 918-851. Let me pull it up real quick here. It's on the screen, 918-851-0102. So step one, you buy a copy of the book. Step two, you send me a screenshot or proof of purchase. Then you're entered in for a chance to win the backstage pass to meet Dr. Sean Baker, Eric Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, and a great team of speakers we're bringing in here. So all you got to do is buy the book and text me proof that you bought it, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win a backstage pass so you can talk to Dr. Baker, you can talk to Eric Trump, you can talk to Robert Kiyosaki. And then I would invite you to start this diet. But I think there's somebody out there, Thomas, who's smart. And I'm going to pick on you, Thomas, because you're one of the smartest people I know. You're a smart guy. And smart people, you're researching. Thomas, for anybody who doesn't know, Thomas is a researcher. Thomas, you'd put a lot of research into your company. That's just the way you think. I would describe you as an intellectual who also does things. You're a smart guy. You think, you contemplate. There's got to be somebody out there, Thomas, who's watching the show, who's smart like you are and is smart like you were, and they're going, I just all meat. I mean, I don't know. Will I get abducted by an alien? Is it going to kill me? I don't know. Is it safe? Is it healthy? But Bill Gates says I shouldn't eat meat at all. What do you say, Thomas, to the intellectual skeptic?
I think I would say if you just look at it from a fundamental standpoint of how long animals and humans have been on the earth, and we've eaten meat that whole time, and we're all still here. And if you look at most of the health problems that, the modern American diet and processed foods and sugar and all those things have brought into place, is like it just. And that's what made me switch to just saying, okay, I'm going to go all in and do it 100%. Is it just seemed logical of like, meat's been here, humans have been here, we've been eating meat for millions of years. It's probably not going to kill you. So I think if you're on the fence, it's like, just try it. Like you're not, I know people worry about like cholesterol and stuff like that, but if you try it for a month, 3 months, 6 months, like it doesn't seem like it should take much to convince you to try it versus eating, Lucky Charms every morning and McDonald's for dinner and, that kind of stuff.
Now, we have a clip here, Dr. Baker, I want to play for you. This is from America's health expert, Bill Gates. Just incredible individual. Let me play this here. He's just incredible, really a specimen when it comes to health and fitness. Here we go.
Cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well, and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use.
There is, of course, a clear financial motive to Gates's plan.
Oh, come on. There's not a clear financial motive for Bill Gates to tell you to eat synthetic meat. Dr. Baker, what's your reaction, sir?
Well, I mean, the one on the good side, he's no longer quoting this livestock's long shadow thing that says 14 or 18% of the greenhouse gases come from. So at least that's on the pro side. He's more in line with what's actually going. And we do know that, cows emit something like 5% of our greenhouse gas. It's actually all animal agriculture. But the reality is that is biogenic methane, which has been going on since whenever it started. We've had animals, large grazing animals, doing that. That methane is short-lived. It goes in the atmosphere, turns back into carbon dioxide and water, and then it feeds and waters the plants. And that's the cycle. That's a cycle of nature. This is literally what the earth is roaming, grazing animals on the planet. And so, I mean, what he's doing is basically creating a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist and financially benefiting from that. So, I mean, you can see, this is an older clip, so you can see what's happened to Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger, particularly Beyond Meat, which had its IPO several years ago, and now it's gone from a $250 stock price to like $3 or $4. And so it's probably going to go bankrupt unless the government props it up. These alternative meat products are in no way healthier than meat. There's no evidence that they're any more environmentally sustainable. In many cases, they're likely less sustainable. And to make the assumption that just because I'm not eating a steak means no animals are dying, there couldn't be anything farther from the truth. You can talk to anybody that raises crops; they will tell you that by the use of pesticides and just preparing the land, there's massive death of species going on. So it's all sort of it's come across, it's portrayed as altruism, but it's really greed. It's not like we want to save the planet by doing this. It's just we're gonna create a new market and take your money that way, and it's not gonna help you in any way. It's really not gonna help the planet in any better way. So the better thing we can do is actually put more cows in the ground and then just graze them in a way that tends to be more favorable to the land, and that's clearly demonstrated and doable. So that's the real solution here.
So let me tee this up again here real quick. Let me tee this up again. So for anybody out there, you say, well, I do want to win a backstage pass to meet Eric Trump. Again, you say, how much does it cost again? All you got to do is you go up to Amazon. Okay. You search for the carnivore diet. You buy the book. Boom. Step one. Step two, you text me proof that you bought the book. Now you're entered in for the chance. You're entered in for a chance. All you got to do is just text me 918-851-0102. Just text me that you have bought the book. Screenshot this. By the way, we helped Kash Patel become a best-selling author by doing this. Kash Patel went to the top of Amazon in one day by doing this. We have helped Peter Navarro. We helped Peter Navarro become a best-selling author by doing this. I am doing this simply because I really do deeply care about Thomas and I deeply care about Rick. And you guys have told me, I didn't call you and say, hey, are you guys on the carnivore diet? You guys were just talking about things. And I told you guys that Sean Baker was coming back to one of our workshops. And Thomas, you said, Clay, I've been on the carnivore diet. And again, how much weight have you lost, Thomas?
81 pounds.
So there's people watching this who are like, I just have concerns. And I'm sure there's people around you, Thomas, people in your life, family, friends, neighbors. I'm sure they've asked you questions. What are the areas of pushback that you may have gotten from family, friends, concerned people that actually care about you that maybe said, I don't know, is that good for you? Have you had those kind of questions?
Definitely have. I'd say probably the number one thing that people talk about is cholesterol. And, they point to that as an immediate, like, hey, your cholesterol is going to go up, especially with eggs, red meat. And so that's what I hear the most is, well, your cholesterol is going to skyrocket and you're going to need to go on a statin. And, I don't really worry about it. I'd be interested to hear what Dr. Baker has to say, because mine has gone up a little bit. Nothing crazy, but went up from like my LDL from 122 to 140 in 6 months, which I know is not crazy. But my triglycerides have gone way down. HDL's gone up. So that's the biggest thing that I hear from people.
Dr. Baker, hey, Vanessa, come here. My wife is in the studio. Come here real quick here. We got to get you in real quick. Throw on some headphones. You got to get her. Okay, so Dr. Baker, got to ask you real quick here. Will someone's brain explode and will they die of cholesterol if they eat only meat for 30 days?
No, unlikely. And I know that was kind of asked in a little humorous way, but the reality is we do sometimes see people's cholesterol rise on low carb diets in general, and we now kind of have a pretty good idea why that is. And it's not because they're consuming more saturated fat. It's really associated with how lean they get. So as we get leaner and leaner, and we rely more on fat for energy rather than glucose for energy, our body just has to traffic more lipid uh, the blood vessels so we can feed our cells. And the question is that reason for high cholesterol different from someone who's, say, obese and just eating too much energy? They both can cause cholesterol to go up, but there's two different reasons for that. And we are getting more and more evidence to show that when you become leaner and less dependent on glucose and you have higher lipids trafficking, there's something called a lipid energy model. There's about 10 scientific papers on this that have been published now, that there's probably good evidence increasingly, and we're doing more and more studies on this to show that that may not be the risk factor for cardiovascular disease that we once thought it was. So there, like many things, there's some nuance here. And generally, I would say both of these guys, probably their quality of life and their overall health has improved probably pretty dramatically. Weight or whatever it is pretty generally health promoting.
Now, Vanessa, just real quick, this is Thomas Cross. You know Thomas.
I know Thomas.
He's
yes.
down 81 pounds by eating only meat. Look
Great
at this
job.
guy.
Congratulations.
He's unbelievable.
Thank you.
I was trying to focus in the camera. I was trying to zoom in to see him. I'm like, where is he? I know he's in the studio. Where is he? And then you've got over here Slick Rick. Slick Rick, how much weight have you lost in 6 months?
92 pounds.
Wow.
And these homeboys are eating only meat all the time. So I'd like for you to bring a voice of sanity here and perhaps a little estrogen. You know, you're a mom. We've got 5 kids. What question or questions would you have for Dr. Baker about the idea of eating only meat all the time?
Well, I 100% believe that it works. And I'm just an oddball where I'm one of those kids who was super picky, never had a bite of steak in my entire life. The kid, so I'm not a vegetarian. It's not because I feel bad. I'll eat eggs. I'll eat chicken if it's not weird. It's immensely in my mind. So I think for someone like me, maybe it's the most of, I try to add protein powder in and collagen and eggs.
Dr. Baker, can't we just take a perch in a pitcher, like in a blender, put like a perch in a pitcher and blend it up and just have her liquefy and puree fish and meat and that kind of thing? Or what would be the solution for somebody as troubled as my wife?
Well, I mean, you could do. I don't know how it tastes.
I know that works. I just have a mental thing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, some of it, it depends on how you grew up. And my wife, to be honest, she's from France and she was vegetarian for like 20 years and she still eats steak now, but she will not cook it. She has to have it well done, which drives me crazy a little bit, but because she just wasn't used to that idea of thinking it's blood. And by the way, there's no blood in meat. Meat isn't, that red stuff is not blood, it's myoglobin. So it's not actual blood that people worry about. I think that, while many of us on this carnivore diet do consume a lot of like beef and lamb, particularly, primarily beef, there's people that have had success consuming, eggs and pork and fish and things like that. So it's doable from that way. The problem that you often run into is because fat becomes so valuable on this diet, red meat just tends to have a little bit more fat. Cows are fattier animals than, say, chickens. And so you run into issues of not consuming enough fat. And so then you have to augment energy. Now you can add butter and all this stuff on there, one way to do it. But a lot of people, they just find it's easier to consume carbohydrates. And so that's why, if we look at like the history of humans, we hunted for a while, we killed these big animals, they kind of ran out. We had to end up hunting skinnier animals, which didn't have as much fat. So then we had to augment our energy supply with more and more plant products. And then we developed agriculture. And then we kind of went downhill as a species since that time. We got smaller, our brains shrunk, our bones got weaker. It helped us, agriculture certainly helped us to grow societally. We had civilization and allowed for us to stay in one place and not have to kind of roam around chasing animal herds. But it had an individual detriment to our overall, human health. So, like some people, I'm sure, Chloe, you have excellent access to really high quality meat. I mean, sometimes like my wife in particular, she still doesn't like the fat. If I cook a ribeye steak, she's cutting all the fat off, which drives me crazy. So I get around that by getting like a really well marbled, like a USDA prime, maybe a tenderloin, which has more fat marbled, but it doesn't have those pockets of fat, which can be off-putting for some people. So getting enough fat in there if you're going to go carnivore. Now, if you're not, just including more protein would help many people.
That'd be the road for me, is just kind of try to
Well, I'm
integrate
trying to
more protein.
convince you to switch to a carnivore diet. I'm trying to convince Thomas to convince you to switch to a carnivore diet. No, I'm just kidding. So, Slick Rick, I got to ask you, you've lost, again, I'm just taking notes here. I want to make sure I'm not exaggerating. 92 pounds in how many days?
171 days today.
So, what questions or concerns do people in your life have when they go, Rick, are you only going to eat meat again? What questions do they have?
Oh, so many people. They bring up the cholesterol. I had blood work done 75 days in, and my cholesterol dropped 30 points. Doctor was ecstatic. My insulin had dropped and everything. Of course, everyone's like, oh, you're not eating any fiber. You're going to have colon cancer and all that. And he'll contest, when you eat nothing but meat, it's pure nutrition. When it comes to, having your bowel movement in the morning, there's not a lot there because your body absorbs it. When you eat all the standard American crap, you end up with a lot of crap.
Oh, okay. So, Thomas, I'm going to give you an opportunity, and I want my wife to think about the perfect question to paint Dr. Baker into the corner here. So, Thomas, what question would you have for Dr. Baker about the carnivore diet, sir?
Yeah, so I think my biggest question, so I have ankylosing spondylitis. I was diagnosed with that when I was like 15. And I've been on Celebrex ever since then. And curious to hear your thoughts on like managing that with carnivore. And obviously the goal there would be to get off medication. I just was able to cut my dose in half a couple weeks ago because that CRP number was so low. And again, my doctor for that is don't eat red meat once a month. That's it. That's max. So curious to hear your thoughts on that and kind of how to manage that, and if that's possible to hopefully get medication free with that.
Yeah, so those aren't familiar with ankylosing spondylitis. It's what we call an inflammatory arthropathy. So kind of like in the category of like rheumatoid arthritis, we have these autoimmune inflammation-driven arthritis conditions. And carnivore diet has been wonderful for allowing people to see their inflammation drop. As he just pointed out, his CRP was very, very low, which is what we'd expect to see. If red meat were inflammatory, we wouldn't see that. We would expect it to go high. So as those inflammatory markers go down and your symptoms go away, the back pain goes away, maybe if you have SI joint pain or something along like, I would expect you to be able to continue to taper and hopefully come off those drugs. We see that all the time now. Again, what I will say is that when we have people with these medical conditions, whether it's ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, ankylosing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis, it usually takes 6 months, a year of a fairly strict diet to sort of put that completely in remission, get people off medications when it does occur. And then at that point, some people are able to loosen things up a little bit. They're able to bring some things back in. So I don't sort of sit there as this is what you're going to have to eat for the rest of your life. I consider a carnivore diet a therapeutic intervention. Minimum for most people is about 3 months. Some people need it 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then most people that do this over the long term will include periodically things here. And they're still going to eat a lot of meat. I mean, they're still going to be eating mostly meat, if not completely. Some people just like it because for the sake of being easy. But I mean, yes, you probably, because taking Celebrex every day, it's a COX-2 non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, it has downstream effects, kidney effects. It has effects on our overall health. So we want to get off medications whenever possible. There's no advantage to being on meds when you don't need to be on them, for sure. I think that's a pretty safe statement. So if you can get off that, if you got the cooperation of your doctor. I'm going to put in one plug for our company, Rivero, which we are a digital health company licensed in all 50 states. And we have physicians that actually do this on a daily basis. They de-prescribe, they work with patients. Some of them are on carnivore, some are on some other, close version. And that's what we do. And it's been really, really fun to watch these people.
Real quick, I'm taking notes here, Dr. Baker. So I'm hacking away in the mainframe as you are sharing here. What's that web address there, sir? What's that web address?
So it's called Rivero, Revero.com.
Okay, so that's Rivero.
And we are signing people up left and right. We just hired a bunch more positions, and so we do this, and we just basically we provide nutrition plans. We provide physician support. We provide coaches that interact with people on a daily basis if they need it. I mean, literally, they're contacting you every day to make sure you are getting your questions answered, getting support you need. We're checking labs all the time. We're checking feedback from our patients every day. We send them monitors to monitor stuff, and it's really You know, and I know, you said Eric Trump's going to be there. I know we've got this Make America Healthy Again thing, and this is a way to do this. This is a way that I'm very passionate about, is that we are, actually putting into practice what we've been preaching for many years. Because I've been a critic of the healthcare system just because I think we're incentivized the wrong way. We're doing all this reactionary, pill for every ill type of thing. When the reality is we should be fixing people's health so we don't have so many sick people. We wouldn't have to spend $4.5 trillion a year if we didn't have, 60, 70% of the country with chronic disease. And if we can fix that, it's going to go a long way to make our country better.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick before we go to Vanessa here. This is just an idea. I don't know if this will work, Thomas, if you're okay with this, but now that you've lost all this weight, I mean, you're looking handsome. So if you could just kind of change it, Dr. Baker, if you could change the way you say it, you could say Rivero, the health company. And you could put Thomas in as the model. Look at this. Look at Thomas. You get Thomas in here. Do you want to try Rivero? Yes. It's like, you want to get the sexy. See, Thomas, you could be like the male model for all you got to do is because Thomas looks like he would speak that way. If you didn't know him, you would think that he's
kind of swarthy looking. Yeah. He's got
check out Rivero. He creates a website to lose the weight. Yes.
I'm ready. I'm on the wait list. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so Vanessa, I know that you weren't planning on hopping on today's show, but I could see that you were behind me back there. I had to get you in here. What question would you have? Any final question?
So how much is of a concern, or do you think it's a concern? I think it's really important to eat high quality meats, like you mentioned. I know when I buy ground beef, it's grass fed. And now you hear about, of course, all the shots that they're giving the animals and mRNA injections, and I know hormones. How picky do you have to be about the meats you select, when you're eating only meat?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think I think you look at it from two ways, from an individual way and then as a societal way. I mean, are we, like I said, there's this Bovaer, substance they're going to feed the animals. This is something Bill Gates, I don't think he's directly invested, but he's investing in similar type things. And again, is it a solution to a problem we don't have? Is it unnecessarily driving up the costs and making it more expensive for farmers? Probably. I mean, it's going to put a lot of them out of business, to be honest. And so we're going to lose our access to that. On an individual level, I literally see people going to Walmart and buying meat and losing 100 pounds like these guys do. So, I mean, on a more sort of macro level, on a population level, I said, yeah, you can just eat what you can afford. And if you can't afford the best high-end stuff, you don't have to do that. Now, again, if your ethics and your beliefs and you want to promote ranching or farming in a certain way, then absolutely it makes sense to spend the extra couple bucks there to do that. But I mean, we're waiting on studies. I mean, I know some of the guys are doing some of the research on this, and we don't have any good studies on humans yet because it's just hard to get this stuff funded because everybody's putting their money in for drug development, and these types of things don't make a lot of money for people. So it's I can certainly say don't feel guilty if you can't afford that stuff. If you can, and you certainly want to help these ranchers out, I would say buy direct from a rancher. I mean, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
It'll keep these guys in business longer. Like you guys are in Oklahoma, which is a huge cattle state. I know I was working with Clay Stairs on perhaps, having some Oklahoma folks do some research around this stuff. So it is probably more important, I should say, just based on the anatomy, the physiology and the anatomy of the animals, that you eat high quality fish, chicken, and pork, just because they're monogastric animals as opposed to ruminants, and they have less tolerance to crappy diet showing up in their meat. Whereas cows they're magic animals. They really are. I mean, they're just like the perfect species, and they can just turn whatever into really high quality, nutritious food for us, which is really cool.
Now, just to be clear, folks, I want people to understand this. Thomas, his company, it's called Full Package Media. They do real estate photography. He is not a model. Vanessa, you know this. Thomas is not a model. So I don't want people going to Full Package Media going, excuse me, can I get the Rivero model? Is it possible? Can I hire him to come out and do my... No, it's not a modeling service. They do real estate photography, right, Thomas? You're not offering... I know the inquiries have really gone up for your male modeling services. You're not offering modeling services. You're just real estate photography, correct?
Not currently, but who knows?
Now, again, that's Rivero, folks. That's the website, Rivero. Yes. Check out Rivero if you want to get the sexy. Yes. Now, Slick Rick, you're a beautiful man, and you came to our business conference, and it was the craziest thing ever because I recognized your face, but I didn't. And you've lost how much weight? 92 pounds?
92 pounds, 171 days.
craziness. So final question, what final question do you have for Dr. Baker there? And then we'll do one final question from Thomas. What final question? Because everybody's online asking, if I'm on the carnivore diet, what can I eat? We established that early. You just only eat meat. Next question people say, well, is eating the carnivore diet healthy? I think we've covered that. But what question would you have for Dr. Sean Baker?
I don't know if I got a question, but I'd say anybody who's interested in it. I think all of us have done all the major diets, the Weight Watchers, the intermittent fasting, all that. You pay money, you get on a plan, you restrict yourself, you're miserable on it. When you get off, you're like, God, I can eat again now. And then your weight comes back on. The thing about carnivore, you get on it, you're full. You're not, your diet's restricted, but you're not walking around in a hunger state. And I'm 51 years old. And I've never experienced hunger because I was a clock eater. 8:30 in the morning, I'm planning what I'm going to eat at 11 o'clock and who with and where we're going to go. And then calling the wife, what are we having for dinner? And then, snacks in the evening. And when I started carnivore, all that just kind of washed away. My whole relationship with food changed. And it wasn't all about just eating to be eating. You start learning that it's there for nutrition and food. And as people see you change, they start asking you questions. They're intrigued by it. I get people call me a couple times, and you start coaching them through, and then they always ask the question, can I still have a baked potato? Like, you can have whatever you want. It depends on the results you want to get. Nobody's going to come to your house and say, you're not a true carnivore. I have a cousin, his wife, and I'm curious about this because I hear so many doctors' opinions that I know from my own thing is like BS. Because I got one, he's 5'7" and he's 260 pounds and he's got a hernia. Doctor wants him to lose weight and they recommended gastric bypass. I'm like, how ridiculous is that?
Now, my wife, Dr. Baker, she stays thin by smoking. She started smoking about 6 months ago. That's to smoke her way to thin. That's what she does. She wasn't sure where to start. So she went and said, what do you recommend? I'm thinking about getting addicted to this. Just mess with it. So Thomas, what final question would you have for Dr. Baker, sir?
Yeah, I think my final question, and you kind of talked a little bit about it earlier, and I've heard you put out some stuff on the lean mass hyper responder type person, individual. Is that, do you only see that in people that are below a certain body fat percentage, or is that people that are kind of on that path to losing weight with any sort of low, no carb, carnivore based diet?
Yeah, that again goes to the cholesterol question. And so, like, as to the point of Rick, he said, my cholesterol actually went down. The reason it went down is because he was probably of a BMI, probably above class 2 obesity. And so when we see people that are significantly obese, when they go carnivore or low carb, their cholesterol usually comes down. But once they get to a certain threshold and they start getting like below BMI 25 and they start getting leaner and leaner, that's when we often see the cholesterol going up. And that gets into the question, is that dangerous or not? And that's where the answer is, we don't know for sure. It probably isn't, though, or at least there's evidence to suggest it's not. I think that, what we do show, and there was a really nice meta-analysis done in January of this year, 2024. They looked at 41 randomized controlled trials of low carb, and they found the biggest relationship, again, was lean body mass, most predictor for high cholesterol, higher body mass, it either doesn't matter or it actually goes down. And then, it's one of those things that, and saturated fat had very little impact. In fact, you can go on a low carb diet and eat all like olive oil and unsaturated fat, nuts and things like that, and you'll see your cholesterol go up. And people have demonstrated that. My friend Nick Norwitz, who is a Oxford PhD, Harvard MD, has shown that eating Oreo cookies, believe it or not, he actually was able to lower his cholesterol by eating Oreo cookies just because of this lipid energy model and what it would predict. And so he went out and he ate 12 Oreo cookies a day and dropped his cholesterol by 200 points just by eating Oreo cookies. Now, I'm not advocating for eating Oreo cookies as a health food, but it's just to demonstrate that this is what's going on. We know why it's happening now.
Now, let me pull this up here. Final thoughts. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. If you want to meet the Rivero, and you want to meet, that would be Dr. Sean Baker. the Rivero. Or you want to meet the man who wants to be the male model, potentially, who should be the male model for Rivero. And you want to meet Eric Trump, and you want to meet Robert Kiyosaki, and you want to meet my wife, who's been smoking her way to thin for several. No. If you want to meet the dream team, all you got to do is step one. I got the steps here. Okay. So step one, you go to Amazon, you find the carnivore diet. This is how you win a backstage pass. You go to carnivore diet, you go to Amazon, you look for the carnivore diet, you buy a copy, and you screenshot it. If you, for some reason, can't figure out how to screenshot it, draw me a picture of you buying the book. Do whatever you have, and then just text me to my cell phone number. We'll keep this private between you and me and everybody. That's my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. You text me proof of purchase, boom, you have a chance to win a backstage pass. As of right now, as of this morning, we have 214 tickets remaining for our in-person workshop. That's going to be accessible. That's the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. It's going to be March 6th and 7th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I affectionately refer to it as Tulsa, Jerusalem. March 6th and 7th, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Everybody out there, you should come to this event. But if you want to win if you want to earn a chance to win a backstage pass, all you got to do is buy the book. That's the Carnivore Diet on Amazon. Text me proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. And if you want to learn more about Rivero, and I know you do, what you do is you just go to Rivero.com. And if you feel like Thomas should replace this guy, I don't even trust this guy. I don't know who this guy is. But if you want Thomas to replace this guy, just text me to my cell phone number, folks. Seriously, just if you say, this guy has to get replaced with the true face of Rivero, Thomas Crossan. Just text my cell phone number, 918-851-0102, and I'll make sure that all of your feedback gets directly to Sean Baker, because I know he wants to spend his day talking to you about who his male model should be for his website, Rivero.com. Dr. Baker, you're the star of today's show, sir. I'll give you the final word, final 30 seconds. What say you?
Well, I say thank you. I'd love to see folks there in March in person. So if you haven't already purchased your ticket and you want to go get it, because I know they're going to go fast, and maybe we'll eat a steak together while we're there. Big thing, don't outsource your help to someone else. As a physician, I can tell you I care about my patients, but I only have like 15 minutes a couple times a year to care about you. You got to live with the results 24/7. This is worth trying. You'll learn a lot of stuff about yourself, and it's very educational. And as what Rick was saying, you'll change your relationship with food. And I think that's essential. So many of us have bad relationship with food. This fixes it in many ways. So give it a try and have great holidays.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thomas Crossan. Thank you, Slick Rick. I really do appreciate you. Yep. I mean this, folks. I was so excited to hear that Rick, he came up to me and he said, Clay, I've been on the carnivore diet since the workshop. I've lost over 80 pounds. Mind blowing. I'm on the phone with Thomas talking about your results, Rick. He said, I've been on the carnivore diet. I'm just super excited to hear success stories. And if you guys want to learn about the controversial approach my wife has taken to smoking her way to thin, you can talk to her about that at our workshop. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th. Yep. It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You could be at a startup phase, or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad, and it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day, 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer. Then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds, pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250 or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. And you did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in.
The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Sean Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Ending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy.
Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2, and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I'll tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store.
Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible.
Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes, and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads, going from 10 a month to 180 a month. That would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach. You know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. My rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view.
Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.